for this class due to the again technical error. There was a technical error and there was no internet. There was a problem with internet. That is the reason why I am 12 minutes late for this class. Uh, Whatever it is, coming today's for today's class. So coming for today's class. In the last session, I spoke about the importance of communication, the tips for efficient and efficient communication, significance of communication, barriers of communication. So I spoke about so many such issues related to communication. In today's class, I'll be dealing with one of the major issue for all the students of different fields, like there may be students from commerce departments, like there may be students from uh, science background who have taken up this course, uh, taken up this course like for soft skill development. So English for communication skills. You know, as I told you in the last class, English is very much required. Communication is very much required soft skill, and again, it is out of all the soft skills, communication has got 56.9 percentage of what demand in the market. Like people look for candidates or aspirants who are more efficient in communication skills. Coming to today's class, as you are all final year MA students, let me speak something on the importance of English as a global language. Now, we are in 21st century. We are in the second decade of 21st century, and as we all know, English is emerging, has emerged already as the significant language, as a global language or lingua franca or a global language. The reason behind it is like there are around 375 million people who use English as their second language, as their first language, and 375 million people. That means almost uh, uh, 3 crores, 300, so 300 crores people, 300 crore people. And coming to the second language, there are almost 750 million people who use English as a second medium of language. That come again, even we Indians come under that category. We in our schools learn English as a second medium of language. And there are again about 70 countries who consider English as a medium of communication in higher education, as medium of communication in higher education. So before moving further into the importance of English language, let me speak. Let me tell you the importance of language. So according to me, there are so many innovations that has taken place in our there are so many innovations, scientific discoveries, scientific innovations have taken place since many ages. But I do feel personally that language is the greatest innovation of man, the greatest discovery of man. Again, without language, you can't learn anything. Again, language is the greatest invention of man. And through language, we socially interact. We again, social relationships takes place, doesn't it? Isn't it? And we communicate with people. So language is what is a vital commodity. Is considered as a vital commodity in the globalized world. In the globalized world, if you have command over a particular language, you can rule anything. You can rule anything. Let it be a political sphere, let it be a business sector, let it be anything, commercial, business, politics, economics, sports, isn't it? That is what happened yesterday with India and Australia. in that test match, like, what happened? So Australians went on sledging and bantering Indian tailenders, and you see the response, the body language of Indians. They were able to draw the match. So what I'm telling you is, language has become an important tool, a vital commodity in this present globalized world. Without language, like, you cannot survive. You cannot survive. And the next important question that may prop up in your mind is, what is a global language? What do you mean by a global language, or lingua franca? Okay, lingua franca means, or a global language, or a world language. World language. What do you mean by world language or a global language? So let me give you a quotation by David Crystal. David Crystal, which a book which he has published in the year 2003. The title of the book is English as a Global Language. English as a global language. And this is what he has to say about the importance of English as a global language, and which language has that characteristic or a quality to be reckoned as a global language. So according to David Crystal, in that book which was published in the year 2003, English as a global language, he says that any language it may be, which achieves genuinely the role that is recognized in every country, recognize a special place, special role, any language let it be, which has got a special role to play in a specific country, people of such countries have to decide to give it a special place within their communities, even though they may have few or no other mother tongue. So there may be countries without script. They may be having their own mother tongue. Like, you have a Kodava language without script. So there are so many languages across the world which doesn't have proper script. So those countries in which people who live in the community use English as their first language. The reason is their native language do not have proper script. That is the reason. Even our Kodava, Tulu, Konkani, those languages, people who speak those languages use Kannada as the script, isn't it? So what I mean to say is, again, which language again takes the position of a global language? Any language let it be, which has got that special quality or role to rule what? A particular community, or people who feel that that particular language has got the quality or flexibility, you can say, to adjust to their environment or to their cultural setup or background. Now, English became popular for, according to me, if you read the history, English became popular because of three major reasons. The first reason is, England was a country which was called as a country where sun never sets. The reason was, like, England had colonies all over the world, from east to west. So it had colonies all over the world, and England ruled those colonies for almost 2 to 3 centuries. And in those 2 to 3 centuries, they succeeded in what? In bringing in English education. They succeeded in bringing English education. By that, they were able to spread the language called English. English became the medium of communication, became the medium of administration, became the medium of communication in education, isn't it? So India was ruled by British people for almost 347 years. They came to India in 1600 and they left India in 1947. In 1947, they ruled India for 347 years, and they succeeded in making English as the second medium of language in higher education not only in higher education, almost all the bureaucratic bureaucratic relationship, or almost all the again documents are related to administration or government policies. They all in such issues they all use what English as medium of instruction or communication. The reason is English has got that flexibility. English has got that elasticity. It is elastic in nature. You can use it, but at the same time, huge vocabulary. Okay, huge what you can say galore of words. It's a huge treasure house of words. The dictionary. Every day, 5 new words enter English dictionary. That is the reason why English became so popular, because every day, every each new day, at least 5 different words from different languages enter English dictionary. English dictionary. We are in the globalized world, and so many innovations have been taken place. Okay, we are like innovations in the field of technology, in the field of what science and technology, isn't it? So what I mean to say is, English became popular because there were so many countries which were ruled by British Empire or the Great Britain for almost 200 or 300 years. Let it be the countries in Africa, countries which have got origin in England, like countries like New Zealand, Australia, which has got connection with England. So Australia was considered as the dumping yard of England, where these thieves or criminals were sent to Australia. So they were not kept in, because all the prisons in England were full. They were sent to Australia, isn't it? That is how English started. English as a language started to spread. James Cook discovered Australia and New Zealand, isn't it? Later on, the people from England, were again the criminals or the thieves from England, were dumped in Australia. That's how the language, like the language or the English language, went to Australia and New Zealand. So the native people of Australia are the Aboriginal Australians. So what happens? You have a few more countries in the West, like you have countries in Europe. Not all the countries in Europe use English. You should keep that in mind. There are people who use. There are countries of different linguistic background. You have people in France speaking French, German speak German, Russian speak Russian. People in Poland speak Polish, Spanish speak. People in Spain speak Spanish, isn't it? So not all the people in Europe use English, but there are several countries in the West, particularly uh, countries like America, Canada, isn't it? Not all the countries in South America use English. South Americans use Spanish, isn't it? Countries in Africa use English as a medium of communication, in education at the same time, even at the time when they meet the non-speaker of the native language. So what I mean to say is, English started to again spread across the world due to due to colonization, That is the reason why England was called as a country where sun never sets. And the second important reason is industrial revolution. So many discoveries, so many innovations took place in 17th century, 18th century, 19th century, that resulted in industrial revolutions, scientific innovations having a link to industrial revolution, and so many new words came into existence. New words related to physics, chemistry, mathematics, isn't it, came into existence due to those scientific inventions or scientific discoveries or whatever you call. So what happened after that? England became the hub of industrial revolution, isn't it? At the same time, you can also see the economical development that happened in America, the kind of attraction America has got. So people have got you people are attracted towards America because it is called presently America is considered as the land of innovations, and people try to almost all the people, let it be Asians or Africans or Europeans, they all cherish the idea of thinking like they all want to study in America in the universities of America. The reason is like in America, English is the first medium of communication, and that is the reason. Firstly, as I told you, it is used as a medium of communication in several domains. Let it be in the field of politics, government, isn't it? Law, judiciary. If you know English, uh, you can be a lawyer in the High Court because there in the High Court, judges, magistrates, the judges, they do not understand the local language. So everything is communicated through English. In high courts, bigger courts, I mean like apex court, Supreme Court, there they use English as a medium of communication. In higher education, you don't learn, you don't see students of engineering studying the technical aspects or technical issues in Kannada. Not all the technical aspects or technical issues has been translated into the local languages. You don't learn engineering in Tamil. Or when you reach the the level of higher education, you don't learn everything in the local language. Not everything is communicated in the local language or your mother tongue. That is the reason why you have to understand the importance of this language. It is very, very important, vital to know the significance of this language. If you think that, if you try to get mesmerized or whatever you say, like get attracted with the people who are associated with these organizations, we call them as linguistic extremists. Linguistic extremists, they say that you should learn mother tongue. Yes, you have to learn mother tongue. You should know the importance of your mother tongue. That doesn't mean that you should subside or you should neglect or you should reject or discard the other language like English, which has become a world language. So English is very, very important. You should learn English at any cost because the importance of this language is huge. It is huge. It's like if your job proficiency efficiency is monitored by the level of your English, If you are capable of using this language efficiently, make it a point, make it a note that you will get job easily. So you will be appointed easily. So that is what observers, academicians feel. So don't be a prey or victimized to the words of this linguistic extremists who advise you to get your children admitted to Kannada medium or Tamil medium schools. Yes, Kannada is important. Other languages are also important. If you get an opportunity, learn French, learn Bengali. Nothing wrong in learning many languages, no. But learning English is very, very important because it is considered as lingua franca, means the global language or the world language. So as I told you, firstly, it is used as a medium of communication in different spheres of life. Let it be administration, government, policies, in law courts, at the same time in media. In media, let it be the electronic media, print media, social media. I saw the other day like a man from Kannada Rakshana Vedike wishing someone Happy New Year. Okay, in a social media platform called Facebook. So see, speak something. I don't see that there is hypocrisy, but still, certain organizations are very much necessary, very much essential to uphold the importance of our mother tongue. But that doesn't mean that you neglect the language like English, because they advise something, they preach something. On the other hand, they follow something else. Do you see their children getting admitted in the Kannada medium schools? No. Let me be frank, bold, transparent. If I again, whoever it is, the so-called literarians who advise Kannada literarians or Kannada people associated with Kannada organizations, you go and search their house like, do you see their children studying in Kannada medium schools? Not at all. Not at all. Okay, they study in prestigious Christian missionary schools where they teach the subjects in English. The subjects in English. So it's very, very important to understand this fact. So I can't be a hypocrite. I can't be a hypocrite. So in that way, like you go and introspect. Do people who are associated with such organizations or librarians have to introspect? Do they really mean it? Do they really mean it, or do they really want to bring it into practice what they preach? Do they bring it into practice what they preach? Not at all. I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening. So it's a fact. It's a fact that it is the first medium of communication in every sphere of life. Again, at the same time, and the higher educational system. As I told you, you can't learn. There are several countries which are considered as exceptions. Countries like China, Japan, where even higher education is in their mother tongue, not in English, because they are not allowed English to gain upper hand, and they are able to translate whatever that has been arrived from the West. Let it be the technical aspect, let it be the legal aspect, or economical aspect, or commercial aspect. So words of the vocabulary that are related to such aspects, different fields, are translated into their. So they have succeeded in translating those aspects of different spheres of life into their mother tongue. That is why they are advanced in science and technology. Even Japanese, they don't learn everything. In Japan, you don't see people learning different subjects in higher education in English. English is not the medium of communication in countries like Japan, China, okay, South Korea, and even countries like South Korea, Russia. Even in Russia, France, Germany, you don't see people learning different subjects which are associated, connected to higher education in English. Again, they don't learn in English. So it's a fact. It's a fact because they are able to translate those issues or aspects into their mother tongue. They have succeeded in that. So secondly, as in the case of English, it is considered as the second language, just to what complement to a person's first language, which naturally happens to be his mother tongue. So at the same time, people consider English as a language of class, status. So if you visit a city like Bangalore, you can't speak to even a beggar. Even if you speak to a beggar and ask him for address, he'll start addressing you or speaking. He'll start speaking to you in English. He'll be able to guide you in English. So that is how it has become a language of cosmopolitan culture. At the same time, we should not forget that with English we have imbibed Western culture. So with the language, there comes a silent visitor called culture. So cultural change happens with language. We have started eating pizza, burger, isn't it? A veg roll, egg roll. Okay. So these are all foodstuffs associated with Western countries. So your food culture has changed, your dress culture has changed, your body language has changed, your hairstyle has changed, isn't it? So with the language, that is introduced, with the language we are also introduced to a different culture. Okay, we have unknowingly imbibed imbibed or inculcated or adopted the Western culture or the language called English unknowingly, without knowledge. So whether you take it in a positive way or not, like it is a fact. It's a fact we have adopted to the Western culture. These weekend visits, going on a trip on weekends, enjoying weekends, okay, enjoying Sundays, okay. This is nothing but the Western culture. So we have imbibed or developed Western culture with that. So nothing wrong in that, but whatever that is good, let it come from any corner of the world. You should embrace it with open eyes. That is my personal opinion. So in the name of culture, in the name of language, you cannot be conservative. You should not be conservative. You should be liberal. But that does not mean that you should not cross certain limits. You should not reach the level of obscenity or vulgar. It should not be vulgar. Culture not at the cost of vulgarity, isn't it? No Westerner would say that you should wear bikini or you should wear something like that. So, like you should wear a decent dress. Though it's a Western dress, you should wear it in a decent way, isn't it? So, what I mean personally is, I'm not speaking like a right-wing politician or a right-wing spokesman. So what I want you to understand is, with a language like English, we are unknowingly, I can consider it as we have become a victim of this Western culture, or we have unknowingly inculcated or developed or practiced or started practicing that Western culture, or we are involved in that Western culture. So there's another important aspect. So as I told you, secondly, as a global community, people around the world will always keep in contact in international forums for political, economical, educational, and even private business. So in international forum, you cannot use your native language, but there are some certain exceptions, like international forums like where our Prime Minister visiting United Nations organization. There, including the present Prime Minister, even our former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee, they spoke in our national language, Hindi, isn't it? There is no barrier, there is no restriction that a political leader of a nation should speak only in English. There is no such a restriction or a barrier. But one thing is sure, that English is the strongest medium of communication, because it is widely spoken by people, and it is the official second language of second language of people living in 70 countries. 70 countries. So you should not forget that. In the political forums, economic forums like G20 summits, United Nations organization meetings, there you have to use English. As a leader, you representing a particular nation, in order to reach the leaders of the other nations, you have to use English. But that is not the case with the present Prime Minister. The reason is, there are people who are there to translate whatever he says, whatever he speaks in Hindi, which is considered as our national language, isn't it? So, means the notes of his speech is given to all the political leaders, is distributed to all the political leaders. So, in that way, they are able to understand what he is saying in Hindi. So, but that doesn't mean that Prime Minister Modi uses English in all the forums. So, so that's another important aspect. So it is considered as the second medium of communication. And secondly, as a global community, they have understood the importance of English. So where it is used as a medium of communication in different global forums, like world leaders meeting in the world conferences and all. So coming to the next aspect, like people like to communicate with simplified language. That's another important aspect related to English. English is considered as a simple language. Simple language where you see there are different institutions set up across different cities where they say advertised, they advertise stating that they can teach you English in 1 week. How can you learn a language in 1 week? So does that mean that English is a simple language? Does that mean that English is a simple language which can be taught in 1 week? So there are so many institutions which have emerged, which you see like weeds everywhere, which you see like weeds again emerging everywhere, where they advertise stating that they are ready to teach you or make you understand or make you learn English within 1 week. So I don't agree with that kind of statements or without that kind of assurances. You can say assurances. The reason is you cannot learn any language within a week. Within a week, it is highly impossible to learn any language within a week. You can learn to write. You can learn. So it takes at least 1 week to learn different parts of speech used in English grammar, isn't it? And it takes at least 1 week to write, again to learn the spellings of words, not the difficult words, familiar words, isn't it? So it is not easy to learn any language within a week. But some institutions have come up with advertisement that they are ready to teach you or make you understand English or make you learn English within 1 week. Does that mean that English is a simple language? To a certain extent, yes. To a certain extent, yes, English is a simple language. Why? Because there are so many factors, there are so many reasons. One major factor is English is like an ocean, it's like an ocean. So many tributaries, so many languages which are like tributaries have made English, isn't it? There are words from different languages which are used in English. Words from Sanskrit, from India, words from French language, from France, words from again Arabic language used in Middle East, words from Latin, Greek. They have again you can see they have find the placement, they have find their place in the dictionary. They have entered English dictionary. So in that way, you can find so many alternative synonyms in English, alternative words. When you feel difficulty at the time of speaking English, when you find when you are in difficulty in using English, at the same time when you are in difficult situations where you find difficulty finding a suitable word to use at a particular juncture or situation, what happens? You find so many synonyms. That is the speciality of English. For a particular word, you have at least 4 to 5 synonyms in English. Synonyms in English. And it is not a complex language. It's not a complex language like Malayalam. Malayalam in India is considered as a very, very complex language, particularly when it comes to southern languages. Malayalam is considered as the most difficult language, and to understand. You can understand other languages when it comes to the southern states of India, but not Malayalam, because Malayalam is considered as a difficult Dravidian language. There are certain languages which are very, very difficult to learn, but English stands as an exception. It is a simple language, and people can easily understand, can easily realize what the other person is saying, understand or realize what the other person is saying. People like to communicate with or simplified language known as pidgin. So pidgin, which combines elements of different languages. So it combines elements of different languages. So in that way, like English has got all those qualities to become a global language. It's not a complex language. It's a simple language, which you can expand like elastic. Okay, which you can expand like elastic. It has got that elasticity. Okay, it's not the complex language. It's very, very simple language. So coming to the next issue, so it is internationally again. Again, there are so many institutions across the world which teach higher educations, internationally recognized universities like Harvard universities, so many Oxford University, Cambridge universities. There in such universities, all the aspects related to higher education is taught in English. So international academic and business communities consider English as a global language or lingua franca. There is a they feel that there is a need, there is an urgent need of a global language, and they feel that English is the language which can fill that vacuum of again the global language of the global language. So that is the reason why they feel there is an urgent need of a global language, and they all feel that English is the only language which can fill that vacuum of a global language. So that the third question that pops up in our mind is what makes a global language? So what makes a global language? So certainly it is the total number of people, the large number of people who speak English. See, if you are lost in a great desert of Egypt, like Great Sahara Desert in Egypt, if you are lost in Sahara Desert, you don't know how to speak the native Egyptian language. So there you will be lost. You don't know where to go, which direction to take. Okay, imagine that you are lost in the deep evergreen forest like Amazon forest. There you don't know which way to go. Okay, there you speak, people speak in Spanish. So how will you come out of that forest? How will you come out of that desert, like Sahara Desert? Again, the only barrier, the only medium of communication which you can use is English. You cannot speak to the people there in Canada and try to find the direction. Okay, try to find the direction or proper way to come out of that again piece of land. Okay, or where you have lost the direction. So what I mean to say is, when you are traveling around the world, when you are traveling in the plane, okay, you need English to communicate with people, to communicate, to do the business, to shop, okay, to talk to people, to talk to guides. When you are visiting different tourist destinations, okay, you need English. If you are lost in a Frankfurt airport or a Glasgow airport in England, Frankfurt airport in Germany, or airport in Dubai, so there you have to use English, and you can see everything is heard in loudspeakers through English. They use English as a medium of communication, and by understanding what is communicated, you will be reaching the proper destination, right? So even at the time of traveling, isn't it? Isn't it? That is the reason why English is used by wide number of people as as a language of speech, as a language of speech. That is the reason why English has become a global language. The first aspect is any language that is able to reach the large number of people, that is able to that is used by people as a medium of communication by large number of people. So such a language is considered as a global language. And the second again aspect is power. So power, any language that has the power to rule the different aspects of life, as I told you, let it be economic, politics, isn't it? Or whatever it is. Imagine that you are working as a soldier, you will be deployed, in the border, that is in a border between Burma and India. You don't know Burmese language, the Myanmar language, and that person, the soldier who belongs to Burma, he doesn't know your native language. So how will you communicate? As a soldier, you don't have other option. You cannot communicate with him Hindi, and that person cannot communicate with Burmese language. So naturally, you have to opt for this language called English. It is a language that has power. Okay, language with power, because it is because as I told you, England ruled so many countries as again so many countries were colonies of England, and that is the reason. Before Christ BC, before Jesus Christ was born, Roman Empire, people you can see Roman Empire had control over almost many parts of Europe, including some parts of Middle East. Roman Empire, people like Julius Caesar, okay, so many Roman emperors ruled southern part of Europe, Middle East, okay, and during that time, Latin was the medium of communication. Military potentiality, military capability, okay, military capability, potentiality, or strength decides decides which country or which community should speak which language. Which language? In a city like Hyderabad, which was ruled by Nizam, there are huge number of people using Urdu, Urdu as a medium of communication, The reason is again power dictates, power decides which language should be used as a medium of communication. So as I told you, before Christ, that is what happened again in southern part of Europe. Latin was the medium of communication, and now in 20th century and 21st century, due to the huge impact of colonization, you can see people using, and you should not forget Lord Macaulay's introduction of English education, introducing English education in Indian education system. Lord Macaulay felt that English should be made as a medium of instruction, medium of communication in administration, in education. Through that agenda, he felt that by introducing English as medium of education, medium of administration, he felt that British Empire can control the large number of mass, the large number of people. The only gift, there are two gifts that, two boons or gifts that you can call that we, being citizens of India, have got from the British rule or tenure or reign. That is the first gift or the first boon that we have received from British rule is English. So they have succeeded in making English as the second language, and believe it or not, Indian English, or we Indians using English in the Western countries. So people search for Indians. So people in America and in England and other parts of the world, they always search for Indians. So as they feel that Indians are the eligible candidates for jobs. The reason is they feel that Indians use proper English. The proper way, like our accent, the way we articulate particular words with proper stress, proper intonation. Okay, so people in the Western countries have come to the conclusion that Indians use English better than the native speakers of English. The native speakers of English. So in that way, we have extra advantage. So that is the reason why we should give credit for the British Empire. They ruled India. At the same time, at the time of leaving India, they left English. At the same time, they left the railway system, isn't it? They left railway system. They used railway system to loot India, but that railway system even today is considered as the most effective railway system, effective means of transportation in India, isn't it? So that's another significant aspect. Power, at the same time, the use of English as by large number of people in day-to-day speech, in day-to-day regular conversation, you can say conversation. And the next important aspect is the next important question that pops up in your mind is, what are the dangers of a global language? What are the dangers? So what do you see? What do you think that what kind of danger a global language can pose? What kind of impact does a global language can have on non-users of English, or in a situation like India, where you have so many languages? They say there are more than 1,000 plus languages and 2,400 plus different dialects. No, there are different dialects even in Canada. So India is a country which has so many states which are formed based on speakers of different languages. In Tamil Nadu means people who speak in Tamil Nadu. You find people speaking Tamil. In Kerala, you find people speaking Malayalam, isn't it? So what I mean to say is, states in India are formed based on linguistic differences. Linguistic differences. So that is how, and you can see the impact of English in all the signboards. You can see people use signboards even on shops, petty shops. You can see Ganesha fancy store. So Ganesha used both in Kannada, okay, or even in English. Okay, you don't use the native language like Tamil in signboards, isn't it? You are ready to accept English as the second language, but not the other languages which are very much our own Indian languages, which are our sisterly languages, you can say. Like all the Dravidian languages are called as sisterly languages. They are interconnected. Okay, interconnected. The mother of all these languages in India that you see in India is Sanskrit. So Sanskrit is the mother of all languages in India. But we have forgotten to use. We don't use Sanskrit nowadays, isn't it? There is a particular village near Shumaga, near Sagra, where you see people who live in that village. They speak Sanskrit. They speak in Sanskrit. So there are certain remote pockets of India where you speak people using Sanskrit even today. But we are not ready to accept Sanskrit, Hindi, or Tamil as our own Indian languages. We are ready to accept English as our own language. Our own language. As I told you the other day, a man who is associated with Kannada Sangatana organization wished me saying that Happy New Year. Okay, I told him Hosa Varshada Shubhashevan Swami. So what I mean to say is, so people have come to again. People have realized, and they have come to the conclusion that we can't survive. We can't survive or think of life in 21st century without English. So what I mean to say is, what are the dangers of a global language like English? What are the dangers that it can create? What kind of problem such a global language like English can create? So it cultivates an elite monolingual linguistic class. So there is a sure danger. There is a certain danger of what exterminating or destroying the other native languages, and people start feeling that English is the only language. It's the only language which is very much necessary, and start to negating or neglecting the other languages. Okay, and people, that is the reason why I always advise my students to use Kannada wherever the opportunity, whichever the platform that you get. So wherever the opportunity you get. So you should use Kannada. You should use the exact words, the proper words. Try to learn the difficult words in Kannada. Try to use in certain situations. So that doesn't mean that you should give importance to English. Don't give importance to English. At the same time, make sure that you should not corner or treat Kannada as a language of nothing. Okay, so the reason is like when you are addressing or communicating a foreigner, a man from a European nation, when you're speaking to him, think that you are in a historical place like Ampi, where you meet a foreigner from England or a country called Norway. So there, when you are speaking to him, you cannot talk to him or speak to him in Kannada, in native language, right? So there, you are supposed or you are forced to speak English. At such platforms, you should use English. But when you are speaking to the native people, when you are speaking with your fellow community people, don't use English. Don't use English because it appears very artificial. It appears very artificial. Don't use English with your mothers, okay, and children. But that doesn't mean that you should not create English learning atmosphere. You should create English learning atmosphere in schools. As teachers, we should create English learning atmosphere in schools because apart from Kannada language, all the other languages, sorry, all the other subjects are taught in English, isn't it? There is a chance platform for children to learn English in schools. But when it comes to again the other occasions like again, while attending a marriage ceremony, functions, festival occasions, or fairs, ಜಾತ್ರೆಗಳಿಗೆ ಹೋದಾಗ ಅಂತ ಸಂದರ್ಭಗಳಲ್ಲಿ on such occasions don't try to use English and don't try to what please try to please people with your artificial English. Please avoid that. Try to be natural, try to be realistic, try to be frank. That is my personal advice or opinion. Okay, it is for you to take it or not. Like when, but on other occasions, like think or imagine that you have joined a multinational company or a multinational institution where you are forced to speak in English at certain circumstances, at such situations, certain situations or certain juncture or situations or circumstances, you do not have other options. You are English. You're forced to English. Use English. So at the same time, it hastens the disappearance of minority languages. So as I told you, there are some minority languages. So people in Goa, people in state like Goa, though Konkani is considered as the first language, people in Goa, majority of the people in Goa speak either Portuguese or English. Either Portuguese or English. The reason is, Goa was ruled by Portuguese for few years, and that is the reason why you see in a state like Goa, Portuguese along with Konkani has become the major language. But I do feel that in states like Mizoram, Goa, you see, there is a kind of cleansing, not only ethnic cleansing, cultural cleansing, linguistic cleansing happening. Because people feel that speaking English will take you to a greater level. People English can bring you lot of fame, name, laurel, prestige, honor in society, which is or again, which I consider is it's fake. It's like nothing but you are creating a fake identity, or a kind of stereotype. Again, stereotype type opinion. So don't become a victim of such a stereotype opinion that, or even become a victim of fake. Don't try to imitate, or don't try to again appease or again try to satisfy the other people. So as I told you, be realistic, be straightforward, bold, frank, be natural, don't be artificial. So in states like Mizoram, Goa, and other states, English has occupied the major position when it comes to the medium of communication. Those languages used in those certain pockets, certain hamlets, certain clans of states like Mizoram or northeastern states. So you see, people in those Aboriginal people from Aboriginal people from different clans of those States use different languages. They are on the verge of extinct. They are on the verge of extinct. The reason is people have given more than enough, have given more than enough importance to English, have started to recognize English as the priority in their life, which I do feel that which is a wrong notion, which in a way in future can create a kind of danger or pose a danger or damage, can create a kind of damage to the native mother tongue, to the native mother tongue. So, as I told you, it is disappearance of the native language, disappearance of the native language. So coming to the next point, that is why fifth point, that why English is considered as a popular language or lingua franca or world language or a global language or a global language. So as I told you, the global extension of British Empire, the extension of British colonial rule, and the second point is the emergence of United States as the leading economic power. So the emergence of United States as the leading economic power. All of us want to go to America. All of us want to pass certain exams like TOEFL, test of English as a foreign language. So we all want to clear that exam. If you don't clear that exam, your visa, your visa, or you are not allowed to work there. You don't get a seat to certain prestigious universities in countries like America and Australia for higher education. So for that you have to clear certain yardsticks, okay, certain exams, tests that are conducted, okay, where they are going to test your English vocabulary skills, English language skills. So you have to clear exams like test of English as a foreign language, and you have to clear exams like IELTS, which means International English Language Testing System. IELTS, International English Language Testing System. So if you don't clear these two exams, you won't get seat in prestigious universities of higher education in Western countries. Okay, but that's not the factor in all the countries. If you want to get admitted in a prestigious university like Sorbonne University of France, there you have to learn. If you want to learn, or again, if you want to do higher education in a university like Sorbonne University, again Paris, okay, which is located in France, you have to learn French. If you want to learn technical issues, technology in higher education, more about technology in higher education, if you want to get admitted in University of Tokyo or University of Hiroshima or Nagasaki or other major universities of Japan, there, if you want to get admitted in such universities, you should make sure that you learn Japanese language. So not all the universities demand English, okay, demand or expect you to be professional in English or proficient in English, but there are certain universities, prestigious universities, which demand a better proficiency or efficiency in English. So in that way, like understanding or realizing this importance is very much important, very much significant. Because the reason is, if you are aspiring to reach America for studies or for job purpose, make it a note that you have to learn English. You have to learn in English. So you have to learn English. If you want to work in Canada, you can apply for immigration. You can try for immigration. Canada has got what, flexible immigrant policies. Flexible immigrant policies. Even with MA English, you can apply for a job in Canada. For a job in Canada, there, since Canada has got very thin population, you can easily get a job. You can also get a citizenship in Canada. Okay, you can reach Canada, their work in Canada, but for that they demand certain minimum, they expect certain minimum requirements. So one of the minimum requirement is you have to clear exams associated with English language, English language. So in that way, like as I told you, the expansion of British colonial rule, and the second point is again after USSR, sorry, USA became the major economic power. People brain drain. You know the phrase called brain drain? Brain drain means lot of Indians, most of the Indians, all again they all wish to work in America. So huge brain drain. Intelligent people in India, IIT products, okay, IISc products, they don't want to work in India. The reason is if they go to US, they can pursue their higher studies. At the same time, they can get jobs in multinational companies, prestigious companies like Google, isn't it? Google, Microsoft, Apple, isn't it? So if they succeed in getting jobs there, so it means that they are settled. So that is the reason why the importance of knowing that America is the big brother super power when it comes to economics, business. You have to understand that, and for that purpose, so try to know the importance of English. Try to clear these exams. Start preparing for these exams. If you are wishing to work in America or in Canada or other parts of Europe. The next factor is English moved around the world. As I told you, it moved to America in 1584. It went to America. So America became a colony of England. Till then, America was having people called Red Indians. Red Indians are the Aboriginal people. They are the native people. So Red Indians were pushed from America towards Mexico, and you find Red Indians in Mexico now. You don't find Red Indians living in America in large number. So Mexico, people living in Mexico are the Native Americans. So people went by ships to America from England. Okay, they reached America in 1584 after Columbus discovered America. You know what happened later on, isn't it? Amerigo Vespucci discovered America, and you know what happened later on. So English reached America along with the British, making America their colony. So it reached India in 1600. In 1600, it went to Africa in 1820. So English reached Africa in 1820, whereas it reached Australia and countries like New Zealand, Tasmania, Australia, Australian continent in the year 1770. In the year 1770, English started to spread across the globe. 1584 America, 1600 India, 1770 Australia, New Zealand, and 1820 Africa. So in that way, English was able to spread across the world. So there is one announcement for you students. See, if you want to if you want certificate, you have to log in at 12:15. Log in at 12:15 tomorrow. 12:15 tomorrow, since it is the last session for final year MA students. So in order to get this again, get the certificate of this soft skills course or communicative English course associated with different soft skill courses. If you want the certificate, you have to log in to that link that's given at 12:15. Okay, so please make a note of it. That is the announcement. So coming to the remaining aspects of English as a global language. So as I told you, it became popular because of its access to knowledge. Access to knowledge. You know, many new coins, new words are coined. New words are coined. Sorry, many new words are coined in 21st century. Words like techno-savvy, netizen, techno-savvy, netizen, website, internet, okay, internet, Google, Okay, so many words which are associated with technology, IT sector, okay, computer science, okay. So such words, netizens. So in 2009, the popular word of 20th century, sorry, 2019, sorry, the popular word, the most used word, the most used word, new word, the most used new word in 2019 is post-true word. Again, like post-true word. That is what they say. It was which was coined uh, um, by the exiting the present president who is the verge of exit, that is Trump. Okay, Trumpian philosophy, Trumpian ideology. Okay, new words emerging from different roots, different corners of the world. No, post truce, truce, truce world, like then like access to knowledge. So I told you, access to knowledge. Most of the innovations in the again innovations and industrial revolution, okay, happened in British ruled again British England, and that is the factor. And the new terminology associated with technology and scientific advancement, uh, as again as is able to coin new words and is able to enter a dictionary. So whatever the new word that enters dictionary, to English dictionary, you should be thorough with that. You should be thorough with that, isn't it? There are words like logger, VLOGGER, logger, blogger, isn't it? At the same time, if you tease someone in the platform like social media platform like in Facebook or WhatsApp, the word called troll, TROLL, troll is a new word. Okay, so means teasing, which is almost associated with the word teasing. Okay, troll, you are trolled. Okay, so many words associated with the technological advancement, scientific innovations have entered English dictionary, and it has contributed in the development of English, and it has contributed in the impact of in making an impact on this language. Those who wish to learn about them, who need to learn the language called English. There was no equivalent computation on from other languages to match English. There is a significant aspect. There is no equivalent or equal matching. There is no striking balance, we should say. There is no striking balance when it comes to language. So don't find any other language which has got striking balance, which has got equivalent uh, capacity to match English. English has got that power. English is the language which is ruling all the spheres of life. So there is no language which is equivalent enough, which is competent enough to match English. That's another significant aspect. And some countries use English as an official language to avoid the problem of having to choose between the conflicting what local languages, conflicting local languages. That is what the kind of ambiguity or uncertainty we are in. So most of the states use their respective mother tongues as the medium of communication in administration. But when it comes to circulars of central government, when it comes to central government circulars, you use two languages, only two languages. We see only two languages used by the bureaucracy associated with central government, the bureaucrats of central government. That is, one is Hindi. Hindi is so central government is trying to consider Hindi as the medium of instruction in administration. At the same time, we should not forget that whatever that is communicated from the central government, that piece of communication is again will always be in English. English is always used as a medium of communication by the governments in their circulars in order to avoid confusion, in order to avoid ambiguity or confusion among people of different states, people of different states. So central government cannot use Tamil as the medium of instruction when it comes to their circulars by using their government circulars, isn't it? So to avoid such confusions, bureaucracy, people associated with central government, they use English as a medium of communication. So it is happening in India. So India comes under that category of some countries which use English as, as an official language to avoid confusion, in choosing in choosing between English or the other native local language. Official language used in United Nations. So this is another important aspect. So English is the official language used in United Nations organizations, which was set up in the year 1945, which is considered as the world body, WHO, World Health Organization, WB, that is World Bank, UNICEF, UNESCO, they all come under this again this top body called United Nations Organization. That United Nations Organization, which is an international body, considers English as as an official language, So keeping that in mind, so English, you should keeping that in mind, you should learn English because that is how from top level to the bottom level of the bureaucracy, level of bureaucracy of different administration, let it be politics, legislature, bureaucracy, media, okay, media, which is considered as the fourth pillar of democracy, isn't it? And legislation, and at the same time, judiciary. So, in all these aspects of life, English is used as a medium of communication. Let it be India or let it be any other country. Okay, you can see people have realized that English is the popular language and it is the global language. And English is used in media, as I told you, 3/4 of the world mail in English. So English, as I told you, English is used in technology. English is used as a media of instruction, media of communication. English is used as a media of information, getting information, sucking information, absorbing information, okay, through English. People, we send articles to journals, periodicals, magazines, okay, different academic issues, okay, connected to different academic issues. We use English as a medium of communication. So you should keep that in mind. So 80% of the electronically stored information is in English. So 80% of the electronically stored information, the data that you see in internet, in Google, is in English. 80%, 80% of the electronically stored information is in English. It is not in Mandarin. It is not in Mandarin, language called Mandarin, which is used in China. It is not in Japanese language. It is used in, sorry, it is in English language. So 80% of the electronically stored information is in English language. So English is a medium of a great deal of the world's knowledge, especially science and technology. As I told you, it has become a normal medium of instruction in higher education that I already spoke about. No one can claim the role of ownership of English. This is very, very important. This is very, very important. You should not say that it's an alien language, it's a foreign language, it's an imported language. Don't reckon or consider English as a foreign language. As I told you, English is a version which has been made, which has been created by joining of so many tributaries, so many rivers, so many other languages have given their own contribution in the making of a language, a global language called English. So keeping that in mind, the native speaker, the native speaker of English do not have the right to claim that they are the owners. They are the owners. The native speakers don't have the right to claim that they are the owners of English. No, not at all. As I told you, so many words from Sanskrit, Hindi have also entered English dictionary, have also contributed in making the English language. So keeping that in mind, nobody has the right to state that English is our language. No, not at all. It's the language of it's a language, it's a universal language, it's a global language, it's a lingua franca. So people who are sent to space stations in the space, they also communicate with the people who are on Earth. So when they're communicating with each other from space stations, from Mars, isn't it? They also communicate in English language. It has reached the universality. It has reached that universality. Okay, it's a global language. So people who are considered as aliens who come from different planets, so it is their job to learn English because majority of the people on Earth speak in English. People living on Earth speak English. So it is not the job, like it has become the global language. You and I again have to understand the importance of it. As I told you, in another 500 years, in another 500 years, there will be a time when it will be there will be again will it be a case that everyone will automatically be introduced to English as soon as they are born or conceived. So this is what there is a fear. There is a fear across the world that this language may rule the world in another 500 years, and it may also become a cause. It may also become a cause or victimize the other languages, or become the sole factor or the reason in the extinction of other languages. There is such a fear that children or infants, as soon as they are born, they may address or they may speak to their mom, or they may call their mom instead of amma, they may call their children parents or their mom, or they may address their mom or cry the time of their birth, they may cry calling the mother as mom instead of amma. So what I mean to say is there is a kind of fear. English may replace the native languages, and yet the native languages may extinct totally, and that fear is very much there. For that reason, I told you don't discard or neglect your local languages. They also have such languages which are on the verge of extinction should be given priority. There are centers like CIL, Central Institute of Languages, which are very much dedicated to safeguard, to save, to safeguard certain dialects, certain languages which are on the verge of extinction. Just 4 to 5 years back, there was a man from northeast of India who was the only man who was speaking that particular language. A particular man from northeast was the only man survived speaking that particular language. Okay, that particular language, Aboriginal man who belongs to a particular tribal community. He was the only man who had survived speaking that particular language, and we have got our own prestigious Central Institute of Languages, very much located in Mysore. People who are working there in that institute brought that man to that institute, and they were able to what make a video of that language, or what take down the dialect to record it, so that in that way they want to safeguard it or save the local Aboriginal language. In that way, what I mean to say is whatever the language that is there, which are on the verge of extinction, should be safeguarded, should be saved. So English, again, I agree. I admit that English is very much merciless, very much merciless. It is slaughtering the other languages. It is strangling the other languages. It is destroying the other languages. So people keeping that knowledge, again, having that awareness, keeping that aware knowledge or having that awareness about the extinction of your native languages, you should again learn English. You should give priority to your languages, to your languages. You should make your future progeny, future generation learn your native languages. At the same time, they should also know the importance of English. They should not forget your native languages. They should not forget their mother tongue. At the same time, they should not feel void enough, feel the vacuum that they are not learned English. So keeping that in mind, the importance of native language, giving importance to the native language is also a necessary step which we should adopt. Okay, if it is by the only language left to be learned, it will have again a greatest intellectual disaster. So as I told you, if the English is the only language that is left across the world, where it has exterminated or destroyed all the other languages. Imagine a world where people speak only language like English. They don't communicate with people, they don't converse with each other in other languages. Imagine a situation or a world where people have to communicate only in English. So in such a situation, you can consider that particular environment or atmosphere or circumstance or situation, the global circumstance or situation, as nothing but intellectual disaster. It's nothing but an intellectual disaster. So we should keep that in mind. So why is it necessary or important to learn? The sixth question that may crop up or come to your mind is that why is it necessary to learn English? As I told you, it's a language of livelihood. It's a language of livelihood which can fetch you bread, which can earn you bread, so which can fetch you a job. Okay, you are employed, you can get jobs. At the same time, it can create job opportunities as they hire professionals who are very well versed in conversing well in English. So is the most easiest language, simple language, most flexible language, and elastic in nature. As I told you, language in class and status, language of class and status. That's widely spoken. People widely use English, and wide variety of words enter English dictionary every day. Wide variety of new words enter English dictionary every day. I advise my students to learn at least 5 new, unknown, unfamiliar words a day, so that you are well equipped or you are well equipped or to confront any kind of situation, to face any kind of situation. We are equipped to to confront or face any kind of situation. So keeping that in mind, so for the achievement of vast available knowledge at the same time of the universe, it is essential to understand and acknowledge the rise of English as a global power. To again, for what? For the achievement of the vast available knowledge. In order to achieve the available knowledge, so whatever the knowledge that is available across the world, in order to achieve that knowledge, in order to access that knowledge, okay, it is important for you to realize the importance of English, to understand and acknowledge the importance of English, the rise of English as a global power, as a global power, as a language, it has a power. It is a powerful language. So you have to acknowledge it. You have to accept that fact You can't deny the fact. So the last thing is lack of understanding this language may become an hindrance, again in fulfilling the awareness of knowledge. It is contemplated as the means of ascending knowledge. It is what it is contemplated. It is contemplated as the means of ascending knowledge. If you want to ascend, if you want to reach that sublime, again, if you want to reach what that level of knowledge, if you want to attain the knowledge of all the spheres of life, if you want to what absorb whatever the information that is given from various sectors of life, whatever the knowledge from whichever the corner that comes, so if you want to absorb it, if you want to achieve it, if you want to receive it, if you want to attain it, you have to understand or realize the importance of this language. It is what it is contemplated as the means of ascending the knowledge, ascending the knowledge. Lack of understanding English will affect your what your access your what your it may limitize your capability of accessing the knowledge. It may limitize your capability of accessing knowledge. And the last point is whatever these Kannada or linguistic extremist organizations advocate or preach or mislead you. They may mislead you, or they may try to try to kind of have a kind of monopoly over you, stating that English cannot in Karnataka English cannot be considered as a state of medium of communication. So if they say like that, don't don't be a victim of such a thought or a misled information or misled misled or misinterpreted notion or information. Don't get misinterpreted by such misled information. So don't get misinterpreted or misled by such people. So despite the loud protests by language extremists or linguistic extremists, the anti-English pleading, we need to learn this language as it is essential part of our life. So despite the pleading by the anti-English linguistic extremists to neglect English, so there is a debate in the state government whether to introduce English as a medium of communication, as a medium of instruction in government schools or not. So English has become a medium of instruction in private schools. Why not in government schools? So if you introduce English as a medium of instruction in government schools, children from rural areas will also find it easy to learn whatever that is communicated in English in higher education. Whatever that is communicated in English as a medium of communication in higher education, they feel it easy to understand when they reach that level of higher education. When they reach higher education, the reason is everything that is instructed in higher education is in English. So whatever that anti-English pleading, let them do whatever the kind of dharna or protest or whatever the kind of extreme step you can say, extremist step that they take or adopt to what mislead people or misinterpret people when it comes to the notion of understanding the importance of English. Let them do whatever the outcry it is, but let them do whatever they want. But one thing is sure that as students of the post graduations, okay, different spheres of different fields of post graduation subjects, like you might be students from science background, commerce background, or humanity background, or social science background. I don't uh, I don't mind that, but you might be students from different learning backgrounds, but I personally advise you to reckon the importance of this language, understand the importance of this language, consider this language as a global language. So it's a lingua franca, it's a world language or a global language. So keeping that in mind, whatever the opportunity you get, or whatever the platform you may get, you try to utilize it to the maximum to use English, to learn English. Okay, so you should not miss it again. You should not miss it. You should not miss such opportunities or such platforms. That is my personal advice to you. So make use of such platforms or opportunities that is provided for you. So in certain several means, let it be social media, let it be even while conversing with your friends in WhatsApp or in other platforms. So try to use English, but don't be again if they are the native speakers, if they understand your information in your mother tongue, try to converse in mother tongue. But if not the situation, try to use English. And English, you find using English easy to communicate. At the same time, my last tip or advice for my dear students from different backgrounds of different subjects is don't use short usage of English. Like don't use abbreviations when it comes to typing the words or using English. Okay, like I have seen students. I saw last week one student uh, using NOSC for KNOWS. Instead of writing who knows, again, she was supposed to ask me who knows. Okay, we were when we were conversing with each other. When I was asking her a question, she type in WhatsApp, she type NOSC for KNOWS. Okay, and for Voivo, you normally use the letter U, isn't it? So avoid such abbreviations, because in a way you are killing English. At the same time, you are spoiling your own English. As a user, you are spoiling your own English. So keep that in again mind. So make that a point. So let it be a social media or any other technological platform or WhatsApp or any other platform, or even while sending mails, avoid using what abbreviations or short forms. Thank you one and all. With this note, I wind up my class. I hope this particular class has enlightened you to a certain extent when it comes to the global language, English as a global language, the significance of English as a global language. So I feel that I have given justice for for the allotted time, and I feel that I have given justice. I was able to enlighten you to a certain extent, give you small information, or was able to give you so small information about English as a global language. Thank you, one and all. Personally, I don't like such platforms where I have to use technology to address my students, to reach my students. I don't like such platforms, but we are inevitable. The situation demands using technology, okay, as the source of or the means, as the means of communication, okay, so means of reaching you. So I'm sorry for that. So I personally like interacting with my students in classroom, offline teaching. I personally like offline teaching, where I can interact with students, where I can reach students, where I can take their opinion, interact with them, because each individual has got his own what level of knowledge. So each individual is intelligent or bright enough is in his own field, isn't it? So I'm not saying that I'm well versed in English or proficient in English. I have complete command over English. I don't say that. Even I am also a learner of English. So with that, I'm also a student of English. With that note, I personally feel sorry for not reaching you offline. Okay. Thank you one and all for spending your precious time with me, tuned up, uh, logged into my class, and bear me for almost 2 hours. I came late for almost 12 minutes because due to the technical error or technical problem, I was not able to reach you in time. Sorry for that. One and all, thank you once again. See you once again if at all, if there is any chance of meeting you again in life. Okay. Uh, Say hi to me and all the best for your future. Do well, and I wish you a bright career. Those who are in professions already, I wish promotions for you in your respective jobs, and those who are seeking jobs, I wish you all the best. Learn English, try to know the importance of English, get well acquainted with this language, and try to have command over this language. Try to improvise your English each and every moment of your life. Thank you one and all. See you once again. Do well. All the best.